Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully, whatever audio issues that I was having, hopefully you guys will let me know if it is sounding better or whatnot. I've gotten a few comments, which I typically don't, but the audios sounded weird. So hopefully it is fixed now. Hopefully it is nice. If you see my little kitty, But today we're talking about Joshua Van versus Charles Johnson. I really am glad that this fight got announced. If you guys don't know, there was a Twitter, some chat going on after Joshua Van's last opponent got hurt. I think it was canceled because he missed weight. It was not Umar. Tager Ulanbekov is who he was supposed to fight. So that's interesting because I really liked Tager in that matchup. Besides striking wise, I think it could have been definitely more competitive than maybe the fight actually would have been. I think grappling wise, Tager is one of the better grapplers in that division. You see that was my cat's tail. But again, I was really excited for that fight. After that fight was canceled, Charles Johnson said, "Hey man, I would really like to fight you," and I think that would be a really good fight for fans. So they put it together for July 13th. We got about 9 days before that fight, so that's why you see some different content. If you guys like that different content, please let me know. Some quizzes. I put out a Undisputed 2010 kind of watch along type thing. If you guys like that, please let me know so I can do some more of it. Yeah, there's my kitty's tail. But again, today we're talking about Joshua Van versus Charles Johnson. Joshua Van, 10-1, 22 years old, 5'5", with a 65-inch reach, fighting Charles Johnson, who's 15-6, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. The losing streak was weird, man. He started the losing streak losing to O'Day Osborne, which I didn't really agree with, but also I thought he absolutely did not beat what's his name? The same guy Joshua Van debuted against. Zagalis. I think it's Zagalis. Lost to O'Day. Lost to Cody Durden, which is whatever. Kind of the same style, really. And then Rafael Estevan looked really bad in the first 2 rounds. Looked pretty good in that 3rd round. Just couldn't stop the takedowns, which again was weird, seeing how that is kind of his style. And then beat Azat. Didn't really look great in that 1st round. There's a possibility that the fight should have been a 10-8. I gotta be honest. Looking at this. Again, right here, as you see, against Azat, beat him by decision. Beat him by decision. And then in his last one, beat Jake Hadley, which I thought Hadley's power would be a little bit more of an issue than it was. And like I talked about in my breakdown of that fight, I thought the movement was going to be the key victory for Charles Johnson. And that's kind of what it turned out to be. The movement was crazy for Charles Johnson in that matchup. 33 years old, 5'9", with a 70-inch reach. 5-inch reach advantage for Johnson. 4-inch in height advantage also for Charles Johnson. Again, this matchup is a lot of fun. You got Charles Johnson, who is the better striker, 100%. 8 finishes, 2 wins by submission, which we're not going to see. I would assume a submission from Joshua Van, unless he would hurt him. That's the only way I really see a submission finish coming out in this matchup. 3-0 in the UFC. Finished his last fight, Felipe Bunez. I think it might be Bunez. I thought Bunez looked pretty good in that 1st round. Kevin Bojarez, again, hurt Joshua, caught him with some big shots in that first fight, in that 1st round. Even maybe in the 2nd round, but kind of tapered off, being, I believe, a short notice matchup. Something that does worry me a little bit with Van is his willingness to just kind of brawl a little bit, and I think that's eventually for sure is going to catch up with him, but he's 22 at this point. Get those bad habits out of his system now, I guess, but you need to start improving it. We've seen this in his last 2 fights, that willingness to exchange but also eat a whole ton. He's winning right now, but he's not fighting great competition. Zagalis, like I said, Zumagulov, that's who it was, Zumagulov. I do like Van. I think he's a good prospect. I think his boxing's really nice. He gets a little, like I said, too desperate at times. He puts himself in bad positions, just walking forward like he does, just being young in the game. Charles Johnson, again, for this matchup I really, really like his movement in this one. The problem, again, I think is the striking, but grappling as much as they're going to, which I do believe Charles Johnson is going to grapple with him. 2-fight winning streak, again, like I said, 33 years old. It's kind of now or never, to be honest. 9 finishes right here, as you see, 9 finishes out of his 15 wins. That is 4 finishes in the first round. I don't know how many of those. He had the Jimmy Flick finish in the first, and that's it in the UFC. So he's only had 1 finish, and that was Jimmy Flick, who's not very good. 4-4 in the UFC. I would assume this is coming up on his, if not the last fight on his contract, 1 more fight on his contract. So he really needs to end this one out on a finish, really. He really needs to finish, or at least a very dominant win for Charles Johnson. I'm going Joshua Van on this one. I think his striking is the difference in this matchup. Like I said, 8 finishes, 6 finishes with his striking, but it's the Azat fight that, even in the Jake Hadley fight, got hit a little bit too much. Hadley, more plotting style. Azat, more of a good footwork, also like Charles Johnson, really, really fast. I just kind of think that's kind of the blueprint that Joshua Van's going to have. I just think Azat relied on hurting him in the first to going back to that. I think Joshua Van can hurt him, sit him down a little bit, and kind of do that each round. Azat was kind of almost mentally broken after that first, it seemed like. But I like Joshua Van. I didn't think Azat beat Tyson Nam. That's my thought on him. So I think Joshua Van gets the fight done. I think he gets the victory. Sorry for the rambling, if that is. Again, let me know what you guys are thinking. Subscribe, like, and comment. I'll see you guys at the next one here very soon. Peace.